Hey everyone, I thought it was about time for another reading update because I finished Magician, written by Raymond E. Feist. This is definitely a classic fantasy novel published in 1982, and I think it's my favorite read of the year so far. Really enjoyed it. It's about this boy who becomes an apprentice to a magician. And you also follow two other boys, his best friend Thomas, who becomes apprentice to a sword master, and Arufa, who is the son of a duke. And well, basically in the background you have a invasion happening by aliens from a different world. They're not the aliens, but they're very human-like. But they basically enter through these magical rifts. Well, basically, the land they live in, they have to deal with this invasion, and we'll try to figure out who these aliens are, and why they're here, and why they're invading. And I think one of the best parts are these aliens. They feel very different. They have a different culture. They have a different way of doing things. And so they use different tactics in battle. They have a lot of difficulty dealing with these tactics. This novel has a lot of classic fantasy tropes, like there are dwarves and elves, and there's even some hint of dragons. And so, but I think Feist handles these tropes really well. And I feel like overall this book feels very fresh, very different from the Tolkien-esque novels, fantasy novels of this time. I feel like Feist's writing style is a lot lighter than some of the other novels, like Shannara, who are very heavy, or feel very heavy and serious, and Magician has a lot of lightheartedness to it, which makes it stand out and an easy read. Even though it's almost 900 pages, it doesn't feel that way. And Feist also isn't afraid to let time pass. There's a lot of years happening in this book. Like they start out young but become, adults, and then a few time skips. So yeah, a lot is happening. I feel like one of the negatives of this book are probably the female characters. There are a few which are basically just I should say love interests. There are basically 4 of them, but I feel like they're all the same character, and they don't really serve a purpose in the big overall plot. And I feel like that was like the big disappointment. And there's like one female character, the elven queen, which starts out was this wise old woman, wise and regal and like a real elf. I feel like she gets dumbed down a lot in this story. I feel like the female characters in the story just aren't done justice, and I feel like that's a big downside. But overall, fantastic book, and I would recommend it to every fantasy fan. Even if you're hesitant of like picking up classic stuff, I feel like this one does enough to make it worth your while. And yeah, currently I'm reading a space opera called Dawn, which is the first book in the Legend of Galactic Heroes, and it's written by Yoshiki Tanaka. This book is also from 1982, but it wasn't released until recently, like I believe like 10 years ago, it got translated into English. For English readers, it's a pretty new read. Yeah, but yeah, it's a Japanese space opera. It's like 10 books, but they're all pretty short, like 250, 300 pages. So they're great palate cleansers. Yeah, this takes place about 800 years into the future, where humanity has turned into a dictatorship. And well, a part of humanity rebelled, and they split off and went to a different part of the galaxy. And then basically those both sides are at war now. And we basically follow both sides. The two main characters are each a character from each side. And one, Reinhard van Lohengram, is from the Galactic Empire. He's very ambitious, and he basically trying to become important, working his way up. And his sister got basically became a wife of the dictator, because he didn't really have a choice, and so he basically wants to become a new dictator and free his sister and make the Galactic Empire a better place. And so he's very ambitious, and he's very smart, and like a tactical mastermind. And so is the other person we follow from the it's called the Free Planet Alliance, the democratic part. And he's basically the opposite. He's very lazy, has no interest in the military basically, but due to circumstances he does get enlisted in the army, and because he's also very smart and makes smart decisions, basically he keeps getting noticed and basically keeps making promotion. And so it starts out with the shoots space battle. The Galactic Empire is winning, and the Free Planet Alliance are losing hard, and so they lose a lot of people. And Yang Van Lee ends up in a commanding position because everyone is basically dying, and so he saves everyone, and so he gets promoted again. Now it goes from there. Space battle was really well done. I was really impressed by it. It was basically a big chess match. Yeah, it's basically a sci-fi military sci-fi space opera series. The downside is the other characters in this novel are very underdeveloped. A lot of them are just names, and you don't get a lot of explanation, so it's hard to get attached to all the other characters. There are a lot of characters that just get introduced and they're kind of just there, but the two main characters are definitely interesting, and I'm interested to see where it ends up with. But yeah, a bit of a mixed bag overall, but not bad. And well, yeah, I'm halfway through, so I'll see where it ends up. And then for my next read, I recently made a video about me reading my TBR in publication order, but I'm gonna make an exception this time. It's more like guidelines anyway, but recently was my birthday, and so I got a book as a present from my sister, who discovered I am back into reading again, and so she went to the bookstore and she was like, he's reading this and this book. I was reading the scenario books at the time, and so she got recommended this one. It's called The City of Brass. It's written by Chakraborty. It's from 2018, I believe, and it's a Middle Eastern inspired fantasy story. And I don't know much about it. It wasn't on my list, so but I got it as a present, and so I promised to read it, so I decided to slot it in somewhere. So yeah, maybe if you read it by chance, let me know what you thought of it. And I'm going in completely blind and see what it's about. Yeah, those are my reads and my reading update. Let me know what you're reading. If you read any of these books, let me know. And yeah, haven't read a lot of these last month, but I'm trying to read more, but been pretty busy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time.